Hello and welcome back. So I don't normally make videos immediately after the 10 forward streams or after any dev announcements or patch notes or anything like that, unless there's something in it that specifically pertains to PvP. Most of the time that stuff doesn't really affect us that much, and it's just not really the focus of this channel. If you're looking for your daily STO news, there's plenty of other channels that'll do it better than I possibly can. But this last 10 forward stream, someone sent to me on Discord a couple of screenshots and a few lines of what was said, and I feel like I kind of have to address it, so...
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, I have used the trait. I am now sort of phased out of existence and flying really gosh darn fast.
Yeah.
Gotta get those flanks.
You got your 100% crit bonus while it's active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Real
will
great.
be a fine addition to my collection. I am going to be
So-
running Argala over and over, as it turns out, to unlock this on my ship on a live server.
We have already acknowledged internally with the thanks of our talented QA testers that this could be a problem in PvP, this alpha strike capabilities of this power. I don't know if we want to do anything about that though, frankly, because there are so many things that get weird in PvP to begin with. Yeah, I just don't know if there's something that we want to do to tone it down or restrict it or anything. We can't just lock stuff out.
It would be nice if we could make things work one way in regular or another in PvP. That would make a lot of life easier.
If there's something that targets another entity, then we can sometimes like tweak it to say if you're targeting a player, then behave differently, like do less damage or don't last as long, that kind of stuff. But this is just a self buff, so it's always affecting a player because only players can use it.
Okay, so... And granted, I don't know the back end of their systems, and this is Bordicus, so I'm sure he knows, but Standoff is a trait that has different stats for player targets versus NPC targets. Raider flanking also does less damage against player targets. I mean, I'm not calling him a liar or anything, but it sure seems like there are other self-buffs that have different stats against player ships. But honestly, I don't really want them to use that as a balancing mechanic, and I think that they're completely missing the point here. 100% crit chance, don't get me wrong, it's powerful, but that's not the problem, right? The problem is that you're untargetable for 10 seconds. Again, with the binary on-off, like you're either targetable or you're not. I don't understand why you would do it that way, because you could do grants 5,000 stealth or grants 100 defense rating or something like that. The stealth one, if you granted 5,000 stealth for 10 seconds instead of untargetable, in PvE content, it would be exactly the same as untargetable, because NPC ships, except for a couple of special outliers, NPC ships have 5,000 perception. So if you give yourself 5,000 stealth, you are untargetable at any range. So in PvP, where ships can have higher perception, if this trait granted a stealth bonus instead, then you could effectively have the best of both worlds. The trait would act exactly the same in PvE, and it would have a way to overcome it in PvP. I don't understand why you wouldn't balance it that way.
So even getting it to behave differently in PvP is kind of a questionable thing. We'll see. I think I like it where it is, honestly, and having a few really powerful toys in the player's toolboxes, I mean, they obviously need to be monitored to see if it gets too much of a problem, but it's okay to have. There's a big portion of Star Trek Online that we know is just power fantasy at this point.
Yeah.
And we feel like it's okay for us as designers to play into that on occasion. Make you feel like a badass.
This,
Okay, so, I mean, he's dead on there. That's totally fine. I don't have a problem with any of that. It's the... And again, they're centered in on the wrong problem. The trait grants 100% crit chance but that doesn't really matter. It's the untargetable time. I mean, 100% crit chance is definitely powerful. And I could see it being used to great effect. And, you know, maybe 50% crit chance would be better, you know, but most of us in PvP with accuracy overflow and Romulan officers and all that stuff, we're already hitting 50+% crit chance already on the type of build that would use this trait, you know, like a dogfighter, beam overload type build. So 100% crit chance, it seems like a huge buff. Like if you're a player and you are flying around and you have like 10% crit chance and you see 100% on a trait, that looks awesome to you. But most endgame PvP, you're already at a really high crit rate. So the bonus that you get from this trait is not that much. This trait isn't going to be used exclusively as an offensive trait. It definitely will be, but it's mainly going to be used as a way to escape. And you know, I just, yeah. And then there was another thing I wanted to bring up here, and that's the community. So you've got, you know, these people saying PvP is broken. Jellyfish needs to be nerfed. That's a pretty good point. Only 12 people PvP. We've heard that line 1,000 times. You know, there's not that many. Master of Overskill. I don't know who this is actually, but this person is right. Crit H isn't the problem. PvP, people still do that. Thought it would be dead by now. Well, it's not. PvP is mega pain to win. Yes, it is a pain to win. It requires teamwork, and I'm assuming this person meant to say pay to win, but maybe they should learn some game mechanics or, you know, watch some of my free-to-play builds, and, you know, try those things out. Please don't nerf things for the sake of 10 people who still PvP. Okay, well, more than 10 people are PvPing, obviously, but either way, we're not asking for a nerf that negatively affects PvE. You can have both. Master of Overskill, the untargetable is the problem. Yes, thank you for being the voice of reason here. I don't watch these streams, so I'm glad someone is there. A C-store thing to let people get a strong PvP ability and not a $200 ship, that is a good point. I agree. I think, you know, there are already a lot of inexpensive PvP traits and abilities, but having one that's available on a C-store ship for, you know, less than 3,000 Zen or whatever when it's bundled, that's a good point. I agree that there should be more things in the regular store. But luckily, whether intentional or not, most of the things that you want for PvP are Zen store things already, except for some special stuff like Weapon Emitter Overdrive is promo, and that's like, you know, the only major one. And then Zal and Adaleth for the Lobby ships, which are also expensive, I'm not denying that. Plenty of stuff that breaks PvP anyway, that's highly debatable. You could fix the problem by removing PvP. Well, I mean, that's a pretty shitty comment. And I've seen this type of comment before. I mean, if people are having fun in a part of the game that you don't even participate in, why do you care if it's in the game? I mean, like at this point, I think you, like, PvP is such a trigger word for people that I'm pretty sure if I started posting how much fun I'm having doing erotic roleplay or something, I would get less flack for it. You know, but like if people are enjoying PvP, it doesn't negatively affect you. Just let them enjoy it. How hard is that? You know, I do the occasional PvE, but it's not my main focus, and I'm not out here commenting on people's streams and Reddit posts and stuff saying, oh, they should just remove PvE. It's not that fun. I mean, like, what kind of asshole says something like that? All they have to do is change the stats to remove the untargetable stuff. And I'd say the same problem exists with... We talked about evade target lock in my last video. Evade target lock also has an untargetable thing that should instead grant defense or stealth or something like that. The Troyus console also makes you unkillable for a certain amount of time. So does the Invincible trait, but those are fine because those can be nuked off of you. The Troyus console, I guess the biggest problem with it is the second part where it says stealthed, because instead of 5,000 stealth or some reasonable amount that could be countered by someone trying to increase their perception, instead you just have infinite stealth value, I guess, for 8 seconds. But whatever. Anyway, I know that was short, but that's all I have. It doesn't seem that difficult to put some thought into what they're working on, and they could easily balance the game properly for both PvP and PvE, and then everybody would be happy, except for the most butthurt of complainers. So, alright, thanks for watching.